All right, we're live. Welcome to this week's edition of Fights Unwrapped. To the right of me is my co-host, Mr. Alec Carr. Now, before we do the headlines, Alec Carr, we always do this where if you want to plug anything in, you can do so right now.
Yeah, so first and foremost, we got a new day and time, obviously. It's Monday at 6 o'clock right now. This is going to be a regular time. I'm super excited for it. For those who don't know, which is pretty much everybody who watches, I have had to be super rushed on Wednesdays, and it causes us to cancel sometimes. So I'm super excited for this, and we can get back on our regular schedule of doing a weekly fight, barring emergencies, of course. Um, and as always, guys, you can follow me at there we go, Alex TD Car on Twitter. You can get all my personal, wild, crazy views on the world and sports. Right now, I'm feeling super depressed about the 76ers. I refuse to acknowledge the game. I won't even talk about it. I'll talk about the team, but I won't talk about Game 7. I just won't. The Sixers lost. Philly, the Eagles suck. The Philly suck. The Flyers suck. So it's a depressing time in Philly. So I'm super excited to be talking about sports. And as always, guys, you can also follow me at 4th and 26 Sports on Twitter for the Philadelphia news, sports news in general. Lots of retweets, lots of headlines, just trying to get stuff out there, not really opinion based. And also, please, guys, follow Fights Unwrapped. That's obviously where we're coming from. And if you're not following us and you're watching our show, if you're not following us and you're a fight fan, I don't know what you're doing. I think this is, and I've watched all the shows and I try to be as unbiased as possible. One of the best shows out there. To toot our own horn. And also, please, 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 please follow Unwrapped Sports Network. Lots of really great local content. You want some news from Chicago? We got a guy from Chicago for you. You got news from LA? Hell, our founders from LA. So we got lots of really cool stuff out there. Lots of really cool local content. Please check us out on our website and on Twitter, Fights Unwrapped. At Unwrapped Sports Network.
It's all good, Alec Carr. Okay, so yeah, I'm excited about this new day and time because this is how you start off fight week, by tuning into our show. So, okay, we're going to do our sponsors before we talk about our headlines. All right, so Carlos Condit, I think he's fighting Max Griffin coming up soon in July. So, tune in for that. But he's a huge proponent of RxHemp.com. So we'll be cheering him on for sure. But get your RxHemp.com CBD creams and you can get 10% off your entire order if you use our promo code RxHemp-USN. And also, I'll be betting on this fight card, even though it's a small one. Doesn't matter. Every fight card matters to me. And you can use mybookie.ag, promo code USN100 for a 100% sign-up bonus. That's right, double up your deposit when you register today. All right, so let's talk about our headlines first. Let's talk about something that is kind of just I'm a little sad about this, not gonna lie. I'm a little sad that we're not going to get Max Holloway versus Yair Rodriguez very soon. I know you're not the biggest fan of this fight, but I was actually looking forward to how this fight was going to play out. And like you said, I think you mentioned it that Giga Chikati was the one who said that he would offer himself to fight Yair Rodriguez, in place of Max Holloway. So what do you think about this? I know you're not as big of a fan of this fight, but what do you think about hearing the news that Max Holloway was not going to be able to fight, coming up?
It's super sad. I'm not a big fan of the fight. It's not because I don't want to watch the fight, as you know. I'm not a big fan of the fight because Max Holloway deserves to be fighting for the title.
Yeah.
I just that's why I don't like the fight. It's upsetting. These guys would put on a show. It's a great matchup. I think Holloway ultimately will win when it gets rescheduled. As far as it being rescheduled, I was kind of hoping it would be. Just because I do think Max Holloway should just wait until he gets the championship bout and stop taking fights because I don't want him to get hurt. I want him to wait. So this fight was coming up in July 17th. So it's really short notice for Yair, but I think he could have taken a rescheduled fight. Now, training for Giga is way different than training for Max Holloway.
Yeah, for sure.
So I can kind of, and I'm not the biggest Rodriguez fan. I was hoping that Max Holloway would just piece him up like Calvin Kattar. But and I do think that's how it would play out. But anyway, I don't blame Yair. He would completely have to change his game plan to getting ready to fight somebody who can take you down and can put you in the clinch. Because Max Holloway, though he can do a little bit of everything, Giga is a fast up and coming guy that fighters are still learning about, and that's always hard to take on short notice. And Yair has championship aspirations, so I get it. I still would have liked to see it so that Max Holloway could just buy time and wait to fight whoever wins the Ortega Volkanovski fight. It stinks. It stinks.
Yeah.
Fights getting canceled like this one always suck, but it's not the worst. It's not the worst cancellation I've ever seen. Right. I am holding out hope because apparently Giga accepted the fight. That's the terminology he used. He accepted the fight, which means he offered it.
Yeah.
So and is telling Yair to do the same. But I mean that could just be talk, get his name out there and stuff. As we've seen guys over and over again in the UFC do that. So we'll see what happens. I think the fight gets rescheduled. When we don't really know, right?
No, we don't really know. It's just that Max Holloway is injured. That's what they said. They didn't give a timeline or anything.
So. Right, exactly. I think Max Holloway might be pulling a little. I don't want to fight until I fight for a championship, which I usually don't like.
Yeah.
I usually don't like it all. I usually hate it, but for him, it's like I kind of get it.
Well, let's talk about this because now. Let's talk about who's in contention. Like Zombie just won his fight against Dan Ige, right?
Yep.
So that was a total domination by him, especially on the ground. So he's number 3 right now in the division, if I'm not mistaken. So like he's also in talks about fighting for a title as well. So Max Holloway is not the only one right now, even though we think that he should be the one fighting for a title, but he's not the only one. And talks about fighting for the belt after the Ortega Volkanovski fight, right? So it makes it more interesting now to see what the next move is after this fight, right? Oh, hold on. I think Dustin is about to join in. Let's see.
There he is. What's up, dude?
Hey.
So, real quick, Dustin, let me get my last point in, and then we'll turn to you about it, too. I think what you were talking about is absolutely right. It makes it very, very interesting. I just think Max Holloway isn't losing that number 1 contender status no matter what happens. I also think Giga absolutely is the next guy in line to fight somebody. So he's got to either. That's why I would love to see him fight Rodriguez because I think he deserves that fight. I think he is that good. It gets his name jumped up the list. But if I would actually, I think the way this will play out is this fight gets rescheduled. Giga fights Korean Zombie. And then the winner of the Rodriguez versus Holloway fight fights the Ortega Volkanovski. And then Holloway, because he'll win in either one of those fights, Holloway fights the winner of Korean Zombie versus Giga.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think that's what's going to happen. So, Dustin, we were just talking about how the Max Holloway and Yair Rodriguez fight got rescheduled because Holloway got injured. And then we're also talking about how Korean Zombie, he just won his matchup against Dan Ige, so that makes him number 3 in the division, which makes him in talks for the contention for the belt as well. So what are your thoughts on Max Holloway versus Yair Rodriguez? Do you think that Holloway should be next in line for the belt, to fight for the belt, or do you think Korean Zombie and him should fight it out to see who gets next contention?
Well, the funny thing about the Max Holloway injury, I hate when injuries are undisclosed. I can't stand that.
Right.
Like that could
Right.
mean a million things. I don't know why he pulled out. So therefore, I mean, I can't like legitimately say, oh yeah, man, he was injured. He shouldn't have fought. I don't know. Like I don't know what was his problem. I have no clue. I don't understand why fighters can't disclose what's wrong. I think you should be able. I think you should have to almost because it just makes sense. But when it
Right.
comes to Korean Zombie and Max Holloway, if they do fight, I think he should fight him before he fights Alex. But I mean, at the same time, he is number one contender. I mean, I really can't say he's not. I mean, he lost to the champ twice. He beat Brian Ortega. I mean, and then he just destroyed this guy, which a lot of people like fell in love with. But honestly, I don't like the guy that he fought. I understand he's a good striker, but it's not like he was some absolute monster that everybody made him out.
Yeah.
I don't think he was.
Yeah,
So
Colin
therefore,
Cater's a joke.
but like the fact that he schooled him, I'm just not surprised. Now, I would love to see Max Holloway versus Korean Zombie because I have a thing about Korean Zombie. He's a very good wrestler. I think
Yeah.
if he grabbed onto Max Holloway,
Hmm.
he probably has a very good shot. Now in the striking, Korean Zombie's too lazy. If he fights Max Holloway, I strictly believe that Max Holloway is going to value him to death. Like he's going to get hit a million times. And Korean Zombie with his fight camp, I can tell they're trying to fight smarter.
Yeah.
And with Max Holloway, and Korean Zombie's right. Max Holloway does not have one punch knockout power like that. He's completely right. But what he does have, he's going to beat you to death for 5 rounds. You're going to sit there
Yeah.
and look stupid. That's what's really going to happen with Max Holloway and Korean Zombie. If Korean Zombie does not hold on to him, he's probably going to get just schooled the whole time. Max Holloway's problem is the champ because that dude is a beast. I mean, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
the dude's a beast. And it's going to be really hard for Max Holloway to beat him if he doesn't have knockout power, in my complete opinion.
I mean,
but then,
I mean, he beat him last time. If we're all being honest, even Dana White says he beat him. Like even Dana White and I've watched that fight 5 times.
Me, like I said, the audience, me and you guys, we can have our opinions. But it doesn't matter. Is he holding the belt?
That's true.
It's going to take time to beat him. When they fight a third time, they're going to know each other a lot. It's going to be hard to beat him. And dude, Alex is a beast. I mean, it's not like
I don't think he even. I don't think Volkanovski. I don't think it's a guarantee that he makes it there. I think Brian Ortega could beat him. To be honest with you,
but give Ortega some respect too. That dude's a monster. I mean, he might have lost to Holloway, but that's not a hit on his legacy. I mean, the dude's still a monster. He's beat a lot of
different Ortega. That was Party Boy Ortega, not this clean and Silva Ortega that we saw against Korean Zombie.
Yeah.
So therefore, a lot of people talking Max Holloway. I love him to death. Like I'm not saying I don't like Max Holloway. He's fun to watch. It's just the fact I don't like the undisclosed injury. I was not a fan of that. I don't like undisclosed injury. I like the.
And real quick, I'll make my last comment will just be to that point. The undisclosed injury. What's really weird about that, and what I thought about the first time I saw the injury announcement was that he does not spar. He does not spar, which is where most guys get hurt in training is during sparring. So it is a little odd that a guy who does not spar, period. No, he's part of this new training technique where he doesn't spar in training camp before fights at all. 0 sparring time.
In my opinion, it's going to get you knocked out. I'm going to say that that's probably going to get you knocked out. So if he thinks he's going to go in there no sparring against.
He's been doing it for the last 3 fights, so I mean it's worked for him. I mean, but
he lost 2 out of the 3 technically.
It's just odd that injury would come up without a guy that does with a guy that doesn't spar. But I mean, he's Max Holloway. The guy he's not known for backing down. I mean, he clearly is a tough guy who would be like. He would step in the octagon tomorrow with Conor McGregor, if we're being honest. So, I mean, like, this is a guy that's an absolute beast that will fight anybody at any time. But the undisclosed injury is weird.
If Conor McGregor was giving me $800,000 to fight him for nothing, I'm stepping into it. Just be real honest. Like,
Okay,
me
guys,
and Conor fight right now. We're
Yeah,
gonna lose,
let's
but I'm
move on.
still.
Let's move on.
we gotta move on. We gotta move on to the next headline. Okay, so the next headline is we talk about Anderson Silva winning his boxing bout against Julio Chavez Jr. So that was really exciting to watch. I can't believe he won against split. He won in split decision, and he was fighting him like he did like OG Anderson Silva. Like if you guys actually watch the highlights of that boxing bout, for 40 years old, that's not too bad. That's not too shabby. So what do you think, Alikar, about this? I
Yeah,
was I was really like skeptical at first, like when he talked about the boxing bout, and then now I'm just like, wow, okay.
I was shocked. I was shocked. I'll be honest. I didn't watch the fight live. I don't know a lot of people that did, but I was shocked. I mean, the guy. We all know Anderson Silva is an absolute monster. But boxing is a totally different animal, and he looked like he knew what he was doing in there. I mean, um, I had very low expectations. Maybe that's why I think he looked way better than I thought he would.
Right.
It's like when you go into a movie, you know it's going to be bad, and then you love it because you know it was going to be bad in the first place. Maybe that's what's going on, but he clearly trained really hard for that fight. He clearly trained boxing really hard for that fight. So, I mean, I gotta give all the props to him in the world. I hope he does another match. I'd love to see it again. I'll actually watch the next one live to see what he can do. I mean, anything Anderson Silva at this point. I mean, I didn't watch it live. I watched all the highlights because I haven't been able to find a full copy of the fight. But I'll tune in next time if he fights again. Absolutely.
What do you think, Dustin? What did you think about the boxing bout? I don't know if you watched, or you watched the highlights. What are your thoughts on that?
I watched.
Yeah.
First of all, I'm a boxing fan.
Yeah.
So I'm a big boxing fan. So it's not like I don't love boxing. Anderson Silva didn't look like he knew what he was doing. Anderson Silva knows what he's doing. That's what people need to stop. Dude, he's a Muay Thai kickboxer, but you need to also understand boxer. Just because those guys throw kicks does not mean they can't get in there with their fist. So therefore, and he's been doing this for 20 plus years. He's been fighting all his life. He fought in the shoot the box camp. Do you know what those guys do to each other almost weekly? It shouldn't even be legal. Like, those guys are getting knocked out and going full speed. That dude knows what he's doing. So therefore, Anderson Silva. Now let's not pretend like he fought somebody that was stupid illegal. Right. Just because you see Julio Cesar Chavez doesn't mean Julio Cesar Chavez. That is his son. That is not illegal. I'm just gonna put it there. Now I will give props over Jake Paul. He fought a real fighter. Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. is a real boxer. He's been fighting all his life. So I'm not going to say like, oh, no, I don't give him no credit. He's 40. Matter of fact, Julio Cesar Chavez should be embarrassed. Like the junior should be embarrassed. I'm not talking about his dad, because that is what it is. He knows he's not his dad. But at the same time, you're younger than that. I mean, you should be able to stand in there a little bit more than that. But Anderson Silva is a stupid clean boxer. He's a very good counterpuncher. He's difficult to deal with, and he's very stylistically weird. It's not like you're fighting elbow to elbow boxing.
Too. He's so long, and he knows how to use that length, and that's what I saw too.
It's the reason why they call him the Spider. He's very awkward. So therefore, he's very, very awkward. It's hard to get him. So I don't say it's bad, but I'm not going to say like I was sitting back and like, oh my God, he did that. Now, if he was like Andre Ward, he came out of retirement and he beat Andre Ward, because Andre Ward's around 195, 185. I mean, he's a big dude. So therefore, now, if he fought Andre at the same age and he did that, then I'd be more impressed, because Andre Ward is a fighter. That dude is a beast. So therefore, then I'm like, okay, Anderson Silva, you got. Let's be honest, in boxing, Andre.
If he beat Andre Ward off the bat, he would be next in line for the title.
It's just like say Mayweather with the Logan Paul shit. I mean, to be real, let's be real. If Mayweather got in there with a young kid like Earl Spence or some of these younger guys, like dude, he would get
No, yeah.
right now. He'd get killed. And let's just be real. Now, I love Floyd May. I'm the biggest fan, but he's 44. He'd get beat. He's not as quick. His reflexes aren't the same. So therefore,
I agree with that.
Anderson Silva's the same way. If he fought a young, up and coming boxer at his weight that was like 23-0, that was 20 years old, dude, he would have got beat up. It's just the fact that he fought. But it's impressive though. I like his little style. Like he was banging on him. I was like, hey, good job. But I hope he goes for the money. Forget fight freaking Julio Cesar Jr. Dude, go get a big fight that gets a PPV. I don't understand why he was fighting that dude. Go fight Jake Paul and beat him up. Like I'm cool with that.
Jake Paul won't take that fight. Jake Paul won't take that fight.
But at the same time, like Anderson Silva, I want to see him take a big money fight. He's old, he deserves it. You're a big star in the sport. Take a money fight. Don't take Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. I'm just gonna be real.
For sure.
Like,
Okay, let's move on. Let's move on to our last headline before we go into our fight preview of the week. So we're talking about Vicente Luque got his next matchup, and it's against Michael Chiesa, and I am not excited for this bout. I'm here's the thing. Okay, I get it. Ranking wise, it makes total sense. But I am so not excited for this bout. Chiesa is boring as fuck, in my opinion. I don't want to watch this fight at all. And I wish Luque was paired up with someone else, but I get it. In terms of moving up in the rankings and the division and stuff like that. So, okay, I think we all agree on that. Alikar, what are your thoughts on this fight?
It's such a bad matchup for him.
Right? Oh my god.
They couldn't pick a harder matchup for Vicente Luque. Vicente Luque, he's got power. He can strike. He can definitely. I'm not saying he can't win this fight because he definitely can, but he's got an uphill battle. Chiesa is one of the best wrestlers in the entire UFC. He's going to put him in deep waters and try to do it as soon as the fight starts, and that's how he fights, and that's why he is boring. But let's be honest, he is an incredible wrestler. This guy scares the entire division because of how good he is at wrestling. People don't want to fight him. People just don't want to fight him. And it's been kind of the curse of Chiesa is that people don't want to fight him because they know, first of all, they're not going to get paid that much because it's going to be a boring fight, so they're not going to get offered that much of the purse. And second of all, that Chiesa is going to shoot the takedown. He's going to shoot it just as soon as the fight starts, and he's going to try to put you in deep waters and just drag out the fight. I got to respect Chiesa's skill, but I will agree with you. He is not the most exciting fighter to watch. I worry about Vicente Luque in this fight. I think you look at Chiesa shooting up the ranks after this win.
Okay, what do you think, Dustin? What do you think about this fight?
Well, first of all, if Chiesa shoots up the ranks, I'm gonna cry because no one wants to see that shit. I'm just gonna be.
I know, right?
He's probably gonna get beat when he shoots up. When he goes up to the top 5, all that, dude, he's gonna get whooped. I'm sorry. If he could say he's a good wrestler, I respect it. I've seen him grapple. He's a great grappler. Don't get me wrong. He also lost to Kevin Lee, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah.
But let's be completely real. If he goes up to the top 5, and he ain't getting nowhere. That's the way I see it. To me, this is a boring fight. Chiesa, he offers no fireworks. I don't see anybody I don't see him dropping people. I just don't see him doing anything. Now he might grind him out. He's like a Kmart version of Khabib. That's exactly what. At least Khabib beat him to death. Chiesa sits there and just whispers to him a little bit while he's hugging him.
You're making me miss
him. You know my opinion of Khabib. You know my opinion of Khabib. Here's Khabib and here's Chiesa.
Yeah.
He's he's like the least exciting Khabib, but he's skinnier. He likes to hug.
Yeah,
so therefore, no, I'm not excited for this fight at all. I might not even watch it. I might watch it on Sunday morning when I don't have anything to do.
Me too.
I'm cooking breakfast or something. That's
I'm
about
not
it.
excited for this fight at all. Okay, let's move on to our fight preview. Let's see. Share screen. Okay. Let's talk about these fights. There you go. Okay, so who's the first fight? Okay, we got Moicano versus Jai Herbert. Moicano, okay, here's the thing with him. Like, I really like him as a fighter, but he's been really, if I'm not mistaken, he's been inconsistent, in the last few bouts. Like, winning, losing, winning, losing. So, I'm hoping he wins against Jai Herbert. He should win against Jai Herbert. He has the experience factor in there. He's great on the ground. There's no reason why he shouldn't. In my opinion. What do you think, Alikar?
This one's really hard. Probably the hardest fight for me to pick
Yeah.
in this entire card. Because like you said, McConnell, you look at him and you go, he beats all the guys he should be. He's one of those guys. He beats all the guys he should beat and loses to all the guys he should lose to. The one that makes you question is the most recent loss against Rafael Fiziev, which we talked about in the Figgy versus Moreno fight. I tried warning people not to count Fiziev out. He's a good fighter. But I think if we go back, I think I picked Rene Moicano. So
me too. Yeah.
And Jai Herbert is another guy, one of those guys who we don't know a lot about. We know the one thing we do know about him though is he has power for days. This is a guy who is a strong puncher. As far as technique goes, maybe not all there, but he is a strong puncher and he will land. And if he lands, any punch can put you to sleep. So I'm going to go against it. I'm going to pick Herbert. I'm not doing it. I'm doing it like, give me like a 0.5 certainty on this fight. But I think we're kind of I just can't pick somebody who's that inconsistent and fighting against a guy who, let's be honest, except for his last fight, has won every single one of his fights except for one other one. So, I mean, yeah, they're not UFC fighters, but this guy's got power for days, and I just can see this going down not well for him at all. So, yeah, I'm going to pick Herbert on this one for sure.
Okay, do you have any thoughts, Dustin, on this fight?
I know Herbert a little bit. I've watched Herbert fight a few times.
Oh, okay.
Other than kind of, I haven't seen him too much. So I'm not gonna pretend like I know that much about him. This is one of those UFCVegas fights that I feel like Dana throws together dead content. Like when I look up and down the card. Like, I mean, it's not. I'm not trying to be funny. I know it's what it is. I shouldn't be funny. But literally, it's just like saying, like, just looking at the card up and down. This is really for young guys to get in the limelight a little bit and see what they're gonna do. I mean, this is what Dana does. He's gonna put these guys in these big shows on the main card to see how they perform and see how they react. I mean, that's really what's gonna happen. But Herbert, I have seen a little bit. Actually, I think I'll probably pick Herbert on that one. I enjoy watching it a little bit. But yeah, I mean, like I said, UFCVegas cards are some bigger than others. This one is mostly for the young guys who need to show Dana and all the matchmakers that they can bang. I mean, that's really what this UFCVegas card is for me.
No, for sure. All right, let's talk about the next fight. We got Tim Means versus Nicholas Dalby. I'm not a big fan of Tim Means. I really am not. Like, I actually like Nicholas Dalby a lot. Like, he has a few wins under his belt so far. And but I'm not a big fan of Tim Means. What do you think, Alikar? Because I'm never gonna cheer for Tim Means. No offense.
He's just a weird dude, He's just one of those guys that kind of gives you like, he's cringy.
Very cringy.
I mean, he's coming off a big win against Mike Perry, which is actually a good win for him. But you're right, Nicholas Dalby is good.
He's good.
Yeah. Tim Means, I can't. Again, this goes back to the Renato Moicano pick. I can't pick a guy that's that inconsistent. I just can't do it. Um,
Right.
you can say he's lost to some really good fighters, and he has. He really, really has lost to some really good fighters, but he's also lost to not so good fighters. Um, Tim Means is like for me the perennial test guy. He is the prime example of I'm going to put you up against this person to see if you belong in the UFC.
Yeah.
And that's what I mean, with Dalby, that's what you're doing right now. You're seeing if he belongs. He beat Daniel Rodriguez, which is a good win, but let's see if you can beat a veteran like Tim Means and see what you do against a guy that's been in the octagon with some of the best of the best. He's lost against the best of the best, but he's been in the octagon with some of the best of the best. So I'm picking Dalby in this fight. I think he wins probably, I'm going to say second round knockout.
Yeah, same here. What do you think, Dustin? Do you have any thoughts on this fight?
Timmy's actually, I know what fight you're talking about against Mike Perry. I actually did watch that. Mike Perry was one of those guys who was expected to be something more than what he turned out to be. I'm just put it that way.
Yeah.
But he's a very tough dude. You don't get twisted. I mean, you fight Mike Perry, dude. You're in for it. That dude's not some easy task. The fact that I watched that fight, Mike Perry just, I don't know how to explain it. Mike Perry just got kind of overpowered. You got to beat a little. It's really weird to watch it because Mike Perry is so much more talented than that, and it's weird. I remember watching that fight. Tim Means against this guy. I would say Tim Means would have some like distinct advantage over the guy, but over the kid. But he's actually pretty experienced. I mean, the guy's fought what? I mean, we're looking. 22 times. I don't know too much about him, but if you stepped in the cage 22 times, I mean, you know the way around. So therefore, it's kind of weird to judge this one. Tim Means, I think, has a great chance of getting him because it's Tim Means. I mean, he's fought guys that are tough. Dude. When you fight this guy, the level of competition you face, he's obviously going to be a little bit more used to it. So therefore, and I don't see this guy. I've never really heard his name big time. So therefore, it's not like he's some young up and comer that's been killing people. So I mean, this could be a very good fight. I'd probably go with Beans.
Okay. Let's move on to the next fight, which is my lock bet fight of the night. We got Andre Fili versus Daniel Pineda, featherweight belt. So excited for this fight. I am never gonna really cheer for any one team alpha male. No offense, just not a big fan. Andre Fili is obviously part of that. I like Daniel Pineda. I think he's so underrated, personally. And then he's had a few wins as well, and he surprised a lot of people. I remember one time he had a crucifix on somebody, I forgot, but that was like really, really impressive, and I remember that. And so I'm picking Daniel Pineda to win this fight, even though Andre Fili is really tough. Not a big fan of his nickname, Touchy Feely. That's really cringeworthy, by the way. But yeah. Right? Okay, Alex, what do you think about this fight?
I was about to say he's a cringeworthy guy. I mean, anybody who's heard Andre Fili talk and Andre Fili, how he acts, he's like him. Tim Means is cringeworthy in a different way, in that he's just a weird dude. Andre Fili is cringeworthy in that you get the feeling that he's kind of creepy. That being said, though, he's an absolute monster in the octagon.
Yeah.
This is a guy who's lost only to some of the best fighters. Again, beats a lot of the guys he's supposed to beat. Has lost to guys like Sadiq Yusuf. His most recent loss, Bryce Mitchell, Bryce Mitchell is coming up, and he's coming up quick. So that's not, you can't really hold that against him too much. And then you got, Daniel Pineda, who I agree with you. I would agree with your last pick. He's coming off that tough loss against Cub Swanson, where was that Cub Swanson's welcome back? I believe it was.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. And Cub Swanson, I remember picking Daniel Pineda before that fight, I think.
Yeah.
And Cub Swanson is just, he kind of shocked the world with this comeback on that fight. And I agree with you a lot, though. I think Pineda is the better all-around fighter. I think he's more controlled in the octagon, and I think he's the smarter fighter, too. And because of that, I think he wins this fight. I don't really know how, because he can he can beat people in a lot of different ways. The
I think
person
on
you
the
were thinking
ground.
about,
I
yeah,
swear he's probably gonna beat him on the ground. That's what I think.
probably. I'm probably seeing a ground and pound victory. I mean, the person you're thinking that he won with elbows in the crucifix position was Herbert Burns, who
Yeah.
was billed as the next great fighter in the
Right.
UFC, and made a he absolutely annihilated him.
Totally. Yeah.
So I mean, I'm excited for this fight. I think this should be the co-main, to be honest with you, because both of these fighters are they both have a chip on their shoulder. They both could get back into contention pretty easily if they go on a little bit of a tear here. So I mean, the co-main kind of sucks, but I think this should absolutely be the co-main, and I'm picking Daniel Pineda.
For sure. Do you have any thoughts on this, Dustin?
I actually like Pineda. I've seen him fight multiple
Yeah,
times.
man. Hell yeah.
He's a very, very good fighter, by the way. Very good. All around, great. First of all, I don't know what the hate is on Team Alpha Male. What they do. Cody Garbraith's the only one I know that's pretty lavish around there. But who doesn't like your right hand? How do you not like your Papa Smurf over there? Then you got the only thing you can say about Team Alpha Male is that Jose Aldo just slapped the entire team. That's about all you really say.
Hell yeah.
Then you got Daniel Pineda. That dude's got a lot of potential. He's one of those young guys that I watch, and I'm just like, this guy's going to be a problem. So I don't think he's going to lose at all. I'm definitely going with Pineda on this fight.
Awesome. Okay, so we're gonna move on to the next fight, light heavyweight fight. I know, Alec Carr, you're really excited about this fight. I think it's Kennedy. I don't even know how to pronounce his last name, so I'm gonna try. Something like that.
I looked it up and now I can't remember. I'm so annoyed with myself.
That's okay. Against Danilo Marquez. All right, so I know, Alec Carr, I know your thoughts on this. I'm actually gonna pick against you and pick Marquez because I know he's really great on the ground. He has a few submission wins right there, and I'm big on that. Obviously, you know me and my submission wins, so that's why I'm probably gonna pick him to win. But because I don't really know Kennedy that well, but apparently, according to Alec, he won the Contender Series back in 2018. So there's some credit there.
Yeah.
So. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he beat Dennis Bryant in the Contender Series pretty. I mean, I think this was the 2018 Contender Series, so it might have been the very first Contender Series, which wasn't very popular, so not a lot of people watched it. But he destroyed Dennis Bryant with a head kick, and then went into ground and pound right away. This guy's a striker. I am a little bit worried that Danilo Marquez is back. He can take this to the ground and beat this fight. I hate that David's doing this to young strikers. It's so annoying. This is like the third one in a row where a young striker's coming up and he puts him up against a pure ground guy. And it's like, dude, come on. We want to see the young striker strike. Let him strike. But maybe this is wrong, but I'm not picking against Kennedy because there's just something going on in Nigeria with fighting right now in mixed martial arts, where those guys coming out of Nigeria are just absolute monsters, just incredibly. I mean, Kennedy has the same thing. Everybody says the same thing that they say about Kamaru Usman. They say the same thing about Francis Ngannou. That he is an incredibly hard worker. He is smart. He knows the fight game, and he will take advantage of you before you even realize he's taking advantage of you. That being said, he lost to Paul Craig, and he lost to Paul Craig pretty badly. So it's hard, but I'm going to pick Kennedy.
That should say something because Marquez is so great on the ground, and you know how great Paul Craig is when it comes to grappling.
Yeah, but I hate Paul Craig.
I know we don't like him, but he's really good. You gotta admit.
He is really good, but I think Kennedy. Listen. Danilo is not Paul Craig. He's just not. He's got a lot. All of his victories look like they come on the ground, but they are not at the same level. And Kennedy can use his strength, his striking and his length. This is a guy with an 83-inch reach. So if he keeps this fight on the outside, I think this is a pretty easy victory for him. I mean, 83-inch reach. We're talking about John Jones style reach. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's true.
So I think he wins this fight. I'm gonna say, you know what? You know I like the shock and all picks. I'm gonna call this first round knockout. First round knockout.
Wow.
Kennedy wins. Get it out of the way. You know.
Get out of the way and then move on to the co-main. All right, Dustin, do you have any thoughts on this fight?
Actually, I disagree. The fact that they shouldn't put young strikers against good wrestlers.
Oh.
I am tired of seeing people not be able to wrestle. It is stupid.
I agree.
It is stupid.
100% agree.
You are in the UFC, and a lot of these guys are Division I or JUCO champions. A lot of these guys are, and they're learning jiu-jitsu. And if you're that good of a wrestler, dude, jiu-jitsu is going to come very, very easy, especially when you're on top.
Right.
And in MMA, you can punch, you can elbow. So therefore, it gets even easier. I'm in a dominant position. I get the elbow in his face. Like that's even funner. So therefore, if you can't wrestle, you don't belong. I'm not just being real. If you can't wrestle, you don't belong. So for all, the young guy loses because he can't wrestle. Well, you know, go to Dagestan. I would tell you. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead and travel over there and see what's popping because you need it. So therefore, I don't get it. But I don't have a dog in this fight. But if the young guy gets beat because he can't wrestle, all power to him. Go visit Dagestan, you know what I'm saying? Go take a 3-week trip, 3-week camp, and learn how to wrestle. That's how I feel about it.
Yeah, wrestling is so important. I mean, it's so dominant in this sport. So I totally agree with you, Dustin, on that. That's why I'm picking Marquez to win in this fight. But
shock and all, guys. Shock and all.
We'll see, man. We'll see. All right, we'll see. Let's move on to the not so exciting co-main event. We got Tanner Boser versus Ovin St. Preux. I don't even want to talk about this. I'm not gonna lie. I'm just like literally my head is like dropping back. I was like so not looking forward to because Tanner Boser, man, he's just not exciting.
Let me say.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like,
Let me
it's so
say
boring.
Let me say this, though. This fight could get really exciting because both of these guys throw. Like, this isn't going to be guys who are scared to throw. Both of these guys are willing strikers. They're not going to try to play out each other like a chess match. They're going to get in there and throw. What's annoying about this fight is that it's fucking meaningless. It doesn't mean anything. Whoever wins isn't going to get up into contending. This fight is so stupid. St. Preux can't even pick what weight class he wants to be in. Like, this fight is so stupid and so meaningless. It should be at the bottom of the card. I have been on notice and on point telling people that Tanner Boser sucks. He's not a good fighter and will be out of the UFC in about 3 to 4 fights if he makes it that long. The guy's just not that good. He's just not that good.
Yeah, usually I root for Canadian fighters and stuff like that, but not this one. Just not this one.
He gasses out. He's just not smart, and he's not he's not smart. He's not, and he's a striker, but he's not a pristine striker. So he just goes out there, and he's overweight, and he goes out there, and he just throws bombs. He's a bad version of Derek Lewis. He's a less powerful, less good version of Derek Lewis. He gasses out in the first 30 seconds of the first round, and it's so annoying to watch him get in the octagon.
Yeah, I'm not too excited about this fight. So Dustin, I mean, I'm sure you don't really have any good thoughts about this fight either, but who do you think's gonna win?
Well, first of all, the reason why this card is so high is because of St. Preux. I'm just going to be honest. The only reason St. Preux is kind of up there is because the guys he stepped in with. That's the only reason his name is in a co-main events because he fought the likes of John Jones and some of the better light heavyweights. I mean, that's just the truth. I mean, I'm not saying that he deserves it. I'm saying that he's been there. And even though he's not the greatest, I mean, he's fought some guys that are tough. I mean, he survived at least. I mean, I'll give him that. He didn't get like humbled. So therefore, I'll give him that. I agree with Alec on that point. The dude just throws. Now, if he catches St. Preux, fine. But to be honest, that dude is long. I mean, if you can even get in his grasp, and if he keeps you outside, you're not going to land one of these bombs. I'm going to tell you that right now. I mean, that dude's got to reach. So therefore, it's really hard to get inside on him unless he gets lazy. So therefore, I don't think he's going to land some big bombs. I'm probably going to pick St. Preux in this fight. But the only reason this fight's so high as it is because St. Preux's exposure with bigger guys. I mean, that's just fact.
That's fair.
That's fair, even though it shouldn't be that way, but whatever.
It
shouldn't be that way. It is.
He's not the 29-year-old who fought John Jones anymore, you know.
No, he's not. No, I cut my camera off as I'm going inside, but he's not like this great fighter. But because of this is, like I said, this card is for young guys who are supposed to try to flourish. I mean, it's not for shock and awe. There's a reason it's free. So therefore, I mean, like I said, I mean, St. Preux's got a really good chance. I don't think this guy's going to land a big bomb. I mean, that's just my opinion.
All right, let's move on to the last and the most, well, actually, yeah, probably the most exciting for Alec Carr fight of the night. We got Cyril Gane versus Alexander Volkov. Heavyweight. Huge implications. Huge implications.
I'm just going to jump in front of you and go first and get it out of the way if that's okay, Money. Because everybody knows, everybody who's watched us and Dustin, who knows us in the chat, knows that I am a huge Gane fan. I love this guy. I think he's going to be absolutely phenomenal. And I have been waiting to talk about this fight for literal months since they announced it like 3 months ago. This fight is one of the most non-title fights. It's the most excited I've been in a long time for a non-title fight.
Right.
It's sad that this isn't going to get as much views as it should, because this fight is going to be an absolute chess match of heavy. In case the heavyweight division, like very few fights ever have. You got Volkov, who's coming off of an impressive victory against Alcitar over him and just absolutely annihilated him. And then you got Gane, who's also coming off of impressive victories. Both of these guys will fight for the belt at some point. I mean, Gane just he just picked Rosenstrike apart, like Rosenstrike. He pieced up Rosenstrike, and that doesn't happen. Gane is a high level kickboxer going up against just Alexander Volkov, who's just, those leg kicks are the most scary leg kicks that I've seen since young Barboza. Like his leg kicks they stop you in your tracks. Doesn't matter who you are. If he lands one of those clean, you might be done in the fight just by one of them, because you don't have a base anymore. You can't plant. And it's for that reason, as much as I love Gane, I'm picking Volkov. I think he is going to win this fight.
What?
I know, I'm shocking people right now.
What are you doing right now?
Gane is the more pinpoint striker and can probably, he's probably going to get off.
Don't forget his wrestling too, man. I was like, what?
I know. He's going to get off some great combos. He's going to shoot takedowns, but Volkov's legs, this guy's a monster. Like, this is what people don't realize about him, and some of the casuals who watch our show who don't really know that much about him. This guy's legs are tree trunks. Even going against wrestlers, it is hard to take him down because he is so strong. And his legs hitting you are like if a freaking tree gets sprung to life and grew legs and kicked you in the leg. That's what it's like. And he has a way of taking wrestlers out of wrestling by landing those leg kicks. He snaps them off so quickly and so powerful. and I think because of that, he's going to negate his Gane's wrestling, and he's going to turn Gane into a striker. But since he won't have his legs underneath of him, he's going to lose this fight. It's a little too soon for Gane for a fight of this magnitude, I think, too. I don't think he's quite ready for this because Volkov is just an absolute monster. If we're being honest about the heavyweight division, it should be John Jones and Volkov should be the next guys in line for the belt. I just honestly believe that. It should not be Derek Lewis. It should be John Jones and then Volkov.
I agree. Dustin, do you have any thoughts on this heavyweight main event?
Actually, I have a question for Alec because I remember us talking about Dane. Mistake me if I'm wrong. This guy is a very experienced Muay Thai martial artist. Am I not? Am I wrong in that?
Who, Gane?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's incredibly experienced.
I know he's incredible. I know he's incredible because we didn't have that argument because of his talent level, or I thought he was bad. Actually, I pointed out that kid is a monster. And just because he doesn't have very much experience in MMA does not mean he's not a monster. That kid is a monster. He is a prodigy. And second of all, now, if you want to talk about Dana doing something too early with these young guys, this is too early. I don't think you should put him against Volkov. That is stupid. He needed to be groomed. I understand he beat up. I understand. He did a really good job against a really good guy. But he needed to be a little bit groomed to go up against these top guys. Because MMA is different. When you get in there with a guy who's fought 40 times, and that's a really good fighter, dude, it's going to be hell. It's going to be hell. This dude is, like you said, he's super strong, super big. He's not ill-fainted in any point of MMA. This guy is a very durable dude. So the point of with Gane, I like your leg kicks. I respect that. That dude does throw some stupid leg kicks. What I'm scared of with the leg kicks is, first of all, Gane, again, is a very, very experienced Muay Thai guy. Mm-hmm. Throwing leg kicks against very experienced Muay Thai guys, bro, that's like taking them into their own world. When you start throwing kicks like that, dude, I don't think Gane is going to get killed by those because he's probably very good at checking them. I'm just going to point that out. I don't think he's going to get hit by a ton of them.
I would just say Volkov, even when you check his leg kicks, are still doing serious damage.
I'm not saying that, but when you hit a shin of a big dude, I mean, it's not fun.
So therefore, I would also point out, and I forgot to mention this, that if Gane can get in and pressure early, he can win this fight. I think Volkov is he's too smart. He's just the one thing I always underrated about Volkov was his fight IQ. Every time I watched him, I never thought of him as a smart fighter until he fought Aspar Ibrahim. And then it was like, oh God, this guy is one of the smartest heavyweights in the division.
That was our first of all. It's stupid that we even had that. First of all, we agree. Yeah, but it was the way we agreed because I don't think Gane was stupid. I think he beat him up for that reason. The guy is stupid talented, and that he could obviously handle stand up with the top guys. I mean, dude, he can, and he's going to. If you try to stand up with him, it's going to be a hard day. Now, if he starts wrestling with Volkov, again, he's very experienced. So if you wrestle with him, do not go for double legs. This is like MMA. This is a huge thing. Do not go for double legs. I'm not saying don't go for them. I'm saying don't go for them and not grip your hands. If you grip around his thighs and you just try to push him against the fence, you're not going to get it. If you do not get that back grip on his thighs, just abort mission. Just abort mission. If he gets out of that, just abort mission, stand up, and punch him in his face. If he doesn't do that, Volkov's going to hurt him. No, that's exactly.
What about you, Monique, though? What about you, Monique? What are you thinking? Did I shock you too much, or do you not have to?
Man, because you're a huge Gane fan. What the hell, man? I
still am. I'm gonna be rooting for him the whole fight, but I'm not expecting anything.
Yeah, no, I seriously think that you guys are right. I think this is way too early to pull shotgun for Gane to face anybody of that caliber.
But you know Dana.
Yeah, I know
You
Dana.
know Dana. He wants to bring these young guys and make them superstars. And
Yeah.
I don't know, man. He doesn't know how to. Sometimes he doesn't know how to groom that, in my opinion.
Right. Volkov, like, okay, if anything, I think Volkov might take it because his fight IQ is something that, like, I totally underestimated, especially in that fight, like Alex said, against Overeem. So, and fight IQ is so important to me, and obviously, like, his kicks are dangerous as fuck, and I don't know, like, Gagne, I just want to see him wrestle. I really do. I think, like, if he, like you said, if he pressures forward really fast in the fight, then he can probably win this fight. But I'm probably siding with Volkov, even though, yeah, you really shocked me, Alex.
The one thing I will say about this, and I do agree, and I said it at first that I think this is too early for him. We all thought the Rosenstrike fight was too early too. Everybody thought that. I mean, that was the talk. Like, why is Gane getting this fight?
Rosenstrike's not Volkov. He's not Volkov.
Right, no, that's what I was just going to say. He's not Volkov. He's not as smart as Volkov. Yes, he's got dangerous power, and at the heavyweight division, everybody's got dangerous power, but Rosenstrike is a little bit above everybody else. But we all thought that he wasn't ready for that fight. Everyone thought it was too soon, and I was actually one of the only people beating the drum going, watch out, because he's an absolute monster. So I will say he has been underestimated before. People have said it is too early for him. Before, I just agree this time than I did for a Rosenstrike. Volkov is just so, and he's gotten so much better since that Curtis Blades loss. Oh my God, he is so much better. It's like a different person. It is. It's like watching a different person.
Right. For sure. All right. What is the next bout coming up? I'm just gonna look that up really quickly before we close out for today.
Oh, it's a good one.
Is it?
But I got a topic. I got something funny. So we all talked about. I remember me and Alec definitely did talk about this. So when Izzy was talking about the rematch between him and Robbie, him and Whitaker, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he got on that fucking mic and literally was saying that I call the shots and whatever I do, and he called him a bitch. And I'm just like, look, Izzy. Like, you beat up Vettori, which everybody knew you were going to. Like, I'm sorry. I never thought Vettori was going to win that fight. I never even had a glimpse. I never thought, and like I said, I voted against Izzy before, especially when he fought you-know-who in 205. I thought he was going to lose. I had no guess about him losing to Vettori. None. There was no doubt in my mind he was going to kill the kid. I didn't think he was going to knock him out because he's got a hard head. I'll give him that. He's stout. But he was definitely going to beat him. And he beat him when he took him down. That's horrible. He got outdid. He literally got swept by Izzy. He got swept. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, dude. No, that kid never had a chance. That was a warm-up fight for Izzy. Now, this thing with Whitaker and how he's talking shit to Whitaker, and then he was like, Whitaker said he's not as good as he thinks he is. And then he was like, well, what does that make you? And I'm just like, look, dog, you landed a left hook that was in the middle of an exchange with him coming forward. He got caught. Fighters get caught. I was like, Robert Whitaker is not some slug, dude. If he thinks that that's going to happen when they fight in September, or
the only issue, because we do have to move on, but the only issue I will bring up about this, and I'm glad you did bring it up because it does piss me off, is he's talking shit to one of the nicest guys, most respected guys in the entire fighting world, not just the UFC, not just MMA, boxing. Robert Whitaker is massively loved, and it's honestly, Conor McGregor even gives guys props when he's talking shit. Like Nick Diaz, he even said this guy's an absolute monster. He took all the shots I could give him, and he just kept getting back up, and I couldn't believe it. For Izzy to come out and talk about one of the most well-respected fighters in world and in the history of the fight game, It's just absolutely disgusting and makes me hate him more. He's acting like a punk kid who lost to Jan and got his candy stolen from him, or the kid that at the basketball court that loses and takes his ball and says, "I'm going home." Dude,
why is he so mad? I don't understand. Why was Izzy so mad that he lost? First of all, like Robert Whitaker, he was talking about Jan. And he was like, no, it was somebody else that was talking about Jan. No, it was Gamebred. He was talking about Jan. He had nothing respect for Izzy. And he was like, because nobody wants to fight him. He literally said, he was like, nobody chooses to fight him. And he was like, Izzy stepped up and talk shit. Like, I don't get it.
Yeah. Why? And we'll continue to talk about this as it gets closer, because that fight's gonna happen. So, but next fight we got the big one. So Nika and Dustin.
There you go.
We got Dustin versus Connor 3. We got Gilbert Burns versus Wonder Boy. We got Tai Tuivasa on a hot streak against Greg Hardy. And we got unwrapped favorite Sugar Sean O'Malley is back in the octagon again, back from his injury. So I'm super excited. I think we got a good warm up fight week leading up to 264. Let's go. I'm ready. I don't know about you guys, but I'm
so ready. All right, guys. That's gonna do it for this week of Fights and Rap. Thank you guys and happy fight week, everybody. See y'all.
See y'all.